Hi guys, welcome to my first ever Sims YouTube video. Today we are starting off with a mid-century modern speed build and I hope you all enjoy. Today we're going to be building a mid-century 2-bedroom house in Brindleton Bay. Mid-century is probably my favorite style of home. I think their layouts are floor plans are very comprehensive and they just make a lot of sense to me. This is a very simple house. It's built on a, 30 by 40 lot in those island areas of Windenburg. I think I said Brindleton Bay earlier. My mistake. So here you see I'm just working on the roof line. It was very simple. They had one of the half-pitch roofs, I thought, and then everything else having a bit of a flat roof, just in that classic mid-century vibe with the overhang. I used the platform tool to add height because I just think the flat roofs look so much better when you have the platform with a bit of the overhang, just because I think it just looks so much more realistic. And you can also see the part that I'm doing now. I used the platform tool to make a planter, and then the stone, that beautiful stone in the fireplace, is by Felix Sander and it's custom content. And I grew up in Australia, contrary to the accent, and you'd see a lot of that, it looks like sandstone to me, so you'd see a lot of that stone around where I grew up. I'm using the black Snowy Escape wallpaper, and here you can see me messing around with what different fire chimney I'm going to use. I don't really like to see the chimneys, because I feel like realistically I don't know, maybe I don't look hard enough, but you don't see them that often. So I like to hide them behind a half wall, and then I feel like you get much more of a sleek look, especially from the front. I'm going in with the classic windows from the bathroom pack by Felix Sander and Harry. And then just so that the windows sat, I pulled that platform over, and then obviously messed up and had to do it again. But the windows and doors from the CC, I just I cannot use Sims without them anymore. They're just such a integral part of my game, especially the big bifolding doors that I'll use at the end. But I really love this house. It was just a really sweet little spot. It was a bit tricky figuring out windows and where to put everything, because I felt like the house was very oriented to the view, but then when you got to the back garden it felt quite off balance. And the bit I'm working on here is a bit of a utility room, and it just felt like there wasn't a cohesive access to the back garden. So I end up opening up the kitchen and the living room right here so you could pass through much easier, and it just gave the whole space, I felt more flow. And I wanted to test out the new CC from Hey Harry and Felix Sander, shocker, their living room pack. And so that space off to the side, originally I think would be a garage from this kind of style house. But I made it so it's an at-home office. And the storyline for this particular family is they're a young professional family with 2 daughters, and they'll share that bedroom on the right, that smaller one, and then they'd have a work from home office, because obviously they're living in a bit of a remote location, so the office was definitely a big priority, and they've definitely modernized the house but kept it to its mid-century roots 100%. But I guess that's enough blabber about the house for now. The world is falling apart. But I guess you already knew that. But it's just, I think it's weird, everyone is going through the same thing, but experiencing it in 20 different ways. So I feel whenever I talk to my friends and stuff, I'm I never know what they're thinking, or if they're having a rough day, or if they're, they're feeling positive about the situation. Not that you can feel that positive. And I don't know about you, I've just been going through this phase of having no motivation. I just don't want to do anything. I'm perfectly content being inside. And I live in the UK, so we're in the middle of lockdown, so I guess it's not I can really do anything outside. But even our, exercise I'm allowed to do once a day. Exercise, never heard of her. And back to the build, as you can see, we've gone past it now, but I like to put a little shelf under the kitchen cupboard, and I put like drinks and stuff, and I just feel like it makes the house just look that little bit more lived in and realistic. And here I am using the new living room sofas. These are like Mario Bellini sofas, and oh my goodness, do I wish I could afford these and have them in my house. And the Samsung Frame TV, or inspired by the Frame TV. Oh my goodness. Like, this Sims 4 pack is probably my dream apartment and house situation. So I've been having a lot of fun playing with it. Oh, this Eames rocking chair as well. Don't even get me started. I'm using the bathroom curtains because I can't stand Sims 4 curtains. I think you detect a bit of a theme. And I thought, at this point, I'm thinking, okay, I'll have like one big living room. And it occurred to me that we have no dining room. So this all gets changed. That piano goes. I think that was me just realizing and moving everything over. And I use probably more CC. Yep. So if you want to download this, I'll put it up in the gallery. Just make sure you click to include custom content. And just all of Hey Harry and Felix Ander's free sets. The living room is Patreon only, I think, at the moment, but vaguely think Valentine's Day is when it goes public. I will double check. But it's got, I couldn't recommend them more. And if you can't afford to get a Patreon, I highly recommend supporting them, because obviously they do this all for free. And they do amazing work, a bit better than EA, cough, cough, but it looks beautiful. And here I am working on this shelf, and I'll put like glasses, and it takes me about 1.5 years to actually find the clutter I want, so you'll see me doing this for a bit. But I just think it's a great way to make the kitchens look a bit more lived in, and I'm using the kitchen pack from, you guessed it. And it just really, it's exactly, like, it's a beautiful, simple kitchen. Like, you just can't go wrong. And I use these cabinets as storage everywhere, especially the full length ones. I think they look so great as built-in storage, and it's just realistic. And I like when I'm building in The Sims to have a house that's, like, vaguely realistic. I tend to always do builds that are like inspired by houses I see. I don't know if anyone else trials this that lives in the UK, but I am always looking on the Modern House, which is a real estate website, and oh my goodness, the houses on there, some of them are just gorgeous. And so I'll definitely be recreating a few of those. And if anyone's interested, please, if you see a house online for sale, send it my way, or link to it down below, and I will absolutely build it, because I love doing that kind of stuff and building off floor plans. I do my own stuff from time to time, but I've been going through, I have a book of mid-century floor plans that I got for Christmas from like 50s, 60s, and they're all these like vintage floor plans, and I've been making my way through them. But obviously I've only just started this channel today, so a lot of those I haven't filmed, but if you guys would be interested in seeing like tours of them once I get a bit better at the whole room tour at the end, that's something I would love to do. And here I am using I don't know where this credenza is from. I think it's one of Felix Ander's, but I'm using the clutter from the living room, which is just incredible. And that piece of art above it, it looks like stuff I have at home, and I love that. It just makes the whole space feel beautiful. And I feel like we've been using the clutter from EA for so long that finally we just have these little things like this tray that make all the difference in the world to me. And as you can see, I don't have that many lights in, and I don't like to scatter the house with those like little saucer lights. I will end up doing it at the end. But I like to look at the lot and see where the views are and see where the natural light is and orient the house on the lot. I think that's just, if you're starting to build, that's such a great way to start, because you can just, you can get your bearings. And here I am using those wardrobe pieces, like cabinets, and they look like built-in wardrobes. Obviously they're not functional, but how often do we really use the actual dressers in gameplay? And I just think when you're building, like, that's an actual built-in wardrobe you'd see in a house like this. You wouldn't, no one uses dressers. I feel like some people do if you're, like, renting or whatever, but built-in wardrobes, especially in a modern house, are just the norm. So I like having that bit of realism. And I've gone for the Get Famous doors because I personally think they're a bit more Art Deco than they are mid-century, but I love the wood tone, and we don't have any simple, like, nice wood-toned doors in The Sims still. There's the ones from, is it Eco Living, but they have that horrible border on the outside of them, and I just cannot bring myself to use them. That Daybed is by Felixander. You need it. Like, it's just lovely. And that chair is from Living Room as well. This build features a lot of living room. And then I went for these wrought iron beds because I just thought they were classic, and they brought a bit of, like, depth to the build, and a bit more, like, it's so beige, I feel like. So I thought they chunked it up, and especially for a kid's room. And I've added in a dresser in here, so in gameplay, if you wanted to, you could 100% like use the functionality of a dresser. And I'm just checking a few kids items, because I feel like in general I tend to make builds like quite grown up, and so using that toy is from Tiny Twaddlers from Felixander and Hey Harry, and it's a great, that pack is so good for kids stuff. Like, I can't recommend it enough. I saw it as these two girls were a bit more grown up, like 13, 14, so they have a bit more of a classy establishment. And here I am again going in with these cupboards, and I imagine that would be like kind of like a linen cupboard for all of their bedding and stuff. And again, in the hallway, that hallway could be a great like desk area as well if you wanted to. There are 2 bathrooms in this build. There's the one main family bath, and then there's a 2-piece like toilet room off the kitchen next to the utility room, just for guests and stuff, but they just share one bath. And you can see me putting in the lighting now. I like to keep it quite minimal because obviously you need light when it's dark out, but not all the time, and I like to use the natural light on the builds when it functions. I was really inspired by Harry's build here, so I'm not copying, but I'm copying. And I ended up moving this wall in to suit the furniture, which is a mood. If only it were that easy. But here I am going ahead with the office. And I just imagined her as this, like, hotshot fashion or magazine editor or interior designer, maybe, if she has the style of house. And I just wanted to make it feel like you can only enter from the outside. You can't enter from the house. So it feels like you're going to work and like you have that separation, which I think is a great like tool to have. Or if you have guests coming over or like a client coming over, they can just come over to the spot and it would be separate from the rest of the house, which I think would be fantastic, like dreams. I would love to live in a house like this. I feel like it's like this is the unreal expectation of what like my first home would be. Like unrealistic. Like it's not gonna happen. This is way too nice. And too big. But it's like for a 2-bedroom house, I just think it's so well laid out. And beautiful. And here I am going into the big family bathroom, and I'm gonna do one of my like new favorite tricks I found. So I get the shelves from the kitchen pack and I put them in this marble, and it kind of vaguely reminds me of like built-in shower cupboards or like built-in shower nook shelves, which I see in a bunch of houses, and I actually have in my house back home. And I just think it makes it look that little bit more realistic. And here I am just putting in some wood details because the bathroom is quite like simple and white and blue. And these tiles are actually Peacemaker. So I use Peacemaker CC. I'm using it less and less because recently I found it looking a bit alpha, but some of his mid-century pieces are just, oh my goodness, I need them. they make my game that much better. But I just went for a simple bathroom layout. I always like to put boss under windows because I like sitting in a bath and looking out the window. I think it's really calming. And then I'm getting started on the backyard. I thought a pool really suited the style of house. And I've been really into using the platforms to kind of offset the pool. And I layer it with that sandstone on the platforms. This is a really good trick, actually. If you don't like any of the platform, like, edges, or the platform, what would you call it? Platform, like, colors that come, you can get a half wall, and it'll leave the border on the top, but I actually think that makes it more natural. And then you can paint, and you can use wallpaper, for the outside, which I think looks better. I'm also obsessed with these pavers, and they're base game, and I just think they look really nice. And I learned this trick from Devin Bumpkin, and it's so true. It just blends using that terrain paint blends those harsher bits in. And this is me not wanting to go to live edit mode to have to search through, but I do eventually dive into live edit mode. And for those of you wondering how to do that, you go Control-Shift-C, testing cheats true, and then type in bb.show-live-edit-objects. There's my dad ringing me on FaceTime. And that will come up with the debug menu. So they're basically the items that are in the world that are not in the build menu, and I love to use them for landscaping because they just look a bit more natural, and I think we're all a bit sick of the EA ones. And you'll notice this if you continue to watch, that I just literally use lavender and wild grasses, because if I had a house, it would just be landscaped with lavender and wild grasses if I could have it my way. I just think that looks the most beautiful. It reminds me of, like, provincial France, or I grew up, like, between Australia and America, or California specifically, so I'm very well, have a high understanding of drought-tolerant plants, so I didn't grow up around that much planting, but we always had lavender and wild grasses, and I just think they look so beautiful, and they're really great drought-resistant, and I think a nice, simple, beautiful way to plant. I'm using the Jardine pack here in the whole garden. Again, hey Harry, Felixander. I just think it's a really beautiful pack, and it's just very simple. And then here's something else I've been doing, using the Jardine counters to make, like, a little island in, like, bigger galley kitchens, and I just think it really suits the lot. And now we're going into the video tour. So thank you so much for hanging out with me today, and I hope you enjoy the build, and let me know what you think below, and I promise I'll get better at the video tours at the end, but I hope you guys have a great day. Bye!